between me and you.
Heyo, I hope you're having a good day today. So this is going to be a heroic Violet Hold multi-box video. This is not a hard dungeon by any means. You can solo this on a geared character. You can probably even solo this at like 5.5 on a prop paladin. But I'm going to be multi-boxing 5-man today. I've got a paladin tank, resto shaman, boomy, shadow priest, and a warlock, demo lock. And yeah, it's not hard. It's just going through the motions. The only tricky parts are depending on what boss you get. You'll see when I get to the second boss, I believe it is, the guy that breaks apart when you start damaging him, the water dude, and then he explodes and he sends all of his globules or whatever in different directions. That can be kind of a pain to deal with as a multi-boxer because you got to target, each one of them individually. But I will show you how to use these. A lot of people don't know the torches that are on the walls, and I'll point them out when I actually use it. You can use those to clear a wave for you, but you can't use them on every wave. You can't use them on ones that have portal guardians, and other than that you can pretty much wait for the mobs to spawn, make sure there's no portal guardians, and then you can click the torch and it will clear the wave. It doesn't drop anything when you do it like that, like the mobs. But, it's not a huge deal. If you have a Skinner, this place is a good place to farm, potentially, especially if you can't do something like the Oculus. And another nice benefit is it's not as far away as the Oculus, so it's right in Dalaran, so pretty nice. You do get a lot of the blue dragon hide deals, the icy dragon scales or whatever, which sadly aren't worth as much as Berean leather. But, if you're just bored, wanna do a little bit of farming for a few minutes, it's a nice easy place to go bust out. You'll notice that I always target the captain or the special, the biggest mob first, because if you don't nuke them down, they'll just keep summoning mobs until you do. So I'll make sure that you always target him first. And then multi-box specific things, these ramps, there's a couple of spots that your guys will get caught on, so I jump frequently to get over those ledges, and then make sure I stop follow to be able to move around on my tank and gather them all up like you do. Something that might be nice for dungeons, I have one button setups for most of my spells that I wrote for all of my characters, and you can have two versions of your spells, like make a nuke version and then make a dot version for bosses. So my warlock does very poor damage here because he has all of his dots incorporated into his macro, and then when there's mobs that die so quickly that the dots don't even get half their ticks off, his damage is just abysmal. The only thing about this boss that you have to be careful about is don't face him towards your raid. Don't face him towards your bros. Just like every other boss in the game, don't face the boss towards your DPS and your healers. It's a good rule of thumb, good thing to make sure that you always do or don't do. And yeah, pretty easy boss. This place can summon a variety of different bosses. Any of the ones that are behind the shields can be summoned. So there's the dog, the void walker, this bro, kind of a throwback to the Hellfire, what's that, Blood Furnace boss, kind of cool. And then the water bro, I think I already said that. The Septicals, kind of throwback, little guys over there. And there's I don't want to say Nazarene, that's not right. He's a consortium looking guy. So you see there, I used on my warlock, I had him leading with the torches so that he could click the torch after I saw what mobs were spawned and make sure it wasn't a portal guardian, and then I clicked. So it clears the waves a little bit faster. There's a number of torches around the room. I want to say at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5, maybe more than that, maybe 6 or 7, but at least 5. So you can very easily clear 5 waves of this place just using those torches that are built in. position the Warlock because he's my poorest DPS over by the next torch, just to press it if I can, get through this place a little bit faster. Some of these guys go down so fast, like this only summons one bro, so if I would have killed him a little bit faster, he wouldn't even have had time to summon those guys. Gonna keep my Warlock down there, and hopefully be able to use the torch on this. I'm reasonably sure the only one that you can't do it on is the Portal Guardian. Collect my Warlock and go over to the next one. Here, I think I just forgot to click the thing. It's no problem. I've had a lot of people ask me, say it just in this video because I've got a moment of free time, but the reason why I picked this team composition is because A, they're all spell power oriented, including the Paladin tank. Every single one of these characters, like the Shaman, has a buff that, you know, it's got Healing Wave and Flame Tongue Totem, which gives spell power buffs. The Boomkin gives 5% crit. The Shadow Priest just has nice buffs in general, priest buffs, and then he gives everybody back mana. I think he also has Misery, I think it is. It increases damage that everybody deals to a target, but he's got a debuff that he can put on mobs that will make them take increased damage. The buffs that the Warlock gives are pretty nice as well. Just a spell power raw buff, and then Shadow Bolt puts a debuff on them as well. And then that's pretty much it for the buffs. Paladin tank, you know, I put Sanctuary on everybody, and then I just carry around a Drum of Kings for 8% Kings, so that I make sure that I have every conceivable buff that I have available to me. And Heroic RDF spam's obviously a good way to farm emblems, but it's also a good way to farm gold. Crossing coming, so you're gonna see this is one of the, it's not hard, but it's one of the harder ones. Running my Shadow Priest over there real quick. Group up gang. So when I'm doing RDF spam, I get 2 emblems for the RDF per character, so that's 10, and then depending on how many bosses are in each instance, this place has 3, so all my characters get 3 extra. That's 5 total per character, so 25 emblems of Triumph, or if it's your first RDF of the day, you get 2 emblems of Frost instead of 2 of those EOTs. So for less than 15 minutes, like usually about 12 to 14 minutes per heroic, you can make some pretty good gold if you take those emblems, and you don't need the emblems for gear. If you take those emblems and convert them into gems, I would personally look up what each gem sells for on the auction house before you go and convert, like, you know, 100 EOTs into gems, because sometimes it would make sense that, you know, you just convert them all into reds because red's worth the most, or yellows, but there are 20 EOTs, 20 badges per red or yellow gem, and it's just 10 badges for a orange gem, and the orange gems sell for pretty good. They're usually like, you'd have to do the math and see proportionally, but in order for the red or yellow gems to be worth it to buy, they would have to sell for twice as much as an orange gem, which they don't. They're like 350 gold for a red or yellow, and the oranges are usually about 230 gold when they're cut. So the reason why I picked the team comp that I have is obviously for the buffs, and then Resto Shaman, I picked that healer because Chain Heal is a very easy spell to just spam on your tank, and then if you get the glyph of Chain Heal, it will heal 4 targets. So I rarely have to select somebody or mess with my healer. I literally just spam Chain Heal the entire time. So it's really nice to be able to just take my mind off of at least one aspect of what I'm doing and just worry about positioning and aggro and damage. Interrupts, not staying in fire, all the other things that go with soloing an instance. This isn't a very demanding place to go to, so that's why it's number 2 on my list. Very fast and very easy, so do not wait for aggro, because I'm aware of my aggro table and all that good stuff. So when my guys pull aggro, I'm like literally waiting for it, so my finger's hovering over E, which is my taunt button, and then R is my second taunt as a paladin, and I have R linked to Fade on the Shadow Priest and a Cower macro for my druid, which is probably pretty unnecessary, but you transform from the cat, does Cower, and then transforms back into Boomkin, just to help me with my aggro, because that's the number one thing that I struggle with on this team right now, because my paladin tank is only 5.2. Everybody in this group is 5.3 or below, I think the Shadow Priest actually might be 5.5, but he's not very geared, so his damage is great. And then when I multi-box, I'm usually using one button macros on almost all these characters, so their damage isn't going to be as good as you could do as a human being playing one character, if that makes sense. Like my spells, my Shadow Priest macro is set up so that I don't clip my Mind Flay using the macro, the no channeling macro, which I talked about in my last video. One of the tools that I use to enable myself to solo dungeons. So just another tool for your kit, you know. This boss, don't face it towards your raid. He's got, I think he might have tail swipe, but like most dragons in the game have a tail swipe kind of a mechanism, and they usually have a cleave as well. But I just simply taunt and back up my guys, and he does the pull-in like that, and the blizzard doesn't even do enough damage for me to worry about, so I just heal through a chain heal, and that's Violet Hold. Easy peasy. So this is the second part of what's going to be a long series, so if you thought this was interesting, get ready for some more. I've got more coming out. I'm going to try and do every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and just bust through them all as fast as I can. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, what have you, drop them down in the comments below, and have a great day.